Greetings gamers, Ian Higton here. Last week, Far Cry 4 rumours once again hit the headlines as an employee from Ubisoft Shanghai boasted on his online CV that he'd been working as content director on the next Far Cry since September 2013. It's not the first time Far Cry 4 rumours have surfaced, of course. This fake image caused a massive stir late last year when a date hidden on the padded wall of Vaas's cell suggested an official announcement on the 4th of April 2014. A quick look at the shoddily photoshopped Far Cry 4 logo exposes it to be nothing more than a great piece of fan art, but nevertheless, reactions to the picture showed that the gaming public are excited to the point of insanity for a new instalment.
Team Chaos!
So at the moment it's pretty safe to say that absolutely nothing is known about Far Cry 4, outside of the walls of Ubisoft's development studios anyway. In our minds, the gaming public's minds, it's a blank canvas. Now, I'm not going to be focusing on the single player here. As far as I'm concerned, it was perfect in Far Cry 3. What I want to focus on is the multiplayer portion of Far Cry 4, more specifically the level editor and map making community as a whole. Before I go into what I believe Far Cry 4 needs when it comes to multiplayer, I think it's important to do a little history lesson. By looking back at previous installments, we'll be able to see how Far Cry's multiplayer has steadily been getting worse, moving away from what the fans have loved towards something that, I guess, Ubisoft thinks will appeal to the broader market. The main draw for Far Cry's multiplayer has been, and always will be for me, the map editor. It's a great tool that's easy to use, and with some patience, the results can be incredibly impressive. In Far Cry Instinct's Predator, the HD version of Far Cry Instinct's Evolution, and one of the first ever Xbox 360 games, the map editor was at its best. Sure, the graphics look absolutely awful now, but I loved the feeling of exploration as I jumped into battlegrounds created by the community. As with most user-generated content, a large percentage of the output was rushed and half-assed, but I have so many fond memories of all the weird and wonderful places I visited. With the ability to place weapons, vehicles and items anywhere you wanted, even in the sky, people's imaginations ran wild. There were the normal maps built around team deathmatches, steal the sample games or the excellent Predator mode, and then there were the more bizarre challenge style maps like the frustratingly addictive obstacle courses where one misstep spelt death. I used to love building maps with hard to reach high points, with epic gun stashes at the top, and small circular battlegrounds which sat atop huge mountains so that the gunplay was constant and chaotic. It was my most played, most loved game of the time, and it's sad to see now that the lobbies are pretty much completely empty. No one's even playing Hollow Town, and that Ubisoft created map was the best map ever. Like, totally. Anyway, moving on to Far Cry 2. Ubisoft added sliding, guns that jam, and a stamina system that made running feel like you were wading through porridge, and removed the much-loved Predator mode as it didn't fit with their new story. It also saw the first restrictions on its level editor by removing weapon placement. To keep up with the FPS Joneses, a class system was introduced. It was, however, the worst class system ever. You had to buy upgrades with diamonds earned in matches, but every time you left a lobby you lost all of your upgrades, which is dumb. The lack of weapon placement put paid to any plans I had for making maps with hidden weapon caches, but there was a much larger library of props to build with, so map makers could still get pretty creative. I mean, where else could you have a firefight on the rim of a gigantic poop-filled toilet? So while gameplay design put a spanner in the works for Far Cry 2, Far Cry 3's level editor was virtually crippled by it. Ubisoft Massive, who handled the multiplayer, decided to concentrate on making the gameplay team-based, utilising a perk system called Shouts which let you buff players in your immediate area. It's a neat idea, but one with very strict guidelines that couldn't and didn't work alongside a level editor which needed total freedom for its users' creative ambitions to be fulfilled. Thanks to the shout system, vehicles were removed from online multiplayer as the developers thought they would discourage people from playing as a team by just jumping onto quad bikes and riding off into the sunset. It's a good point, but the level editor in Far Cry 3 lets you make huge worlds. Huge worlds are awesome, but not when you have to walk around every inch of them searching for opponents. There was also a brand new XP system which let you choose your own loadouts, blatantly a choice made to appeal to the COD kiddies, but something that again removed the ability to publish user-created maps with placeable weapons. The final straw that killed it for me though was an incomprehensible lobby system that made it almost impossible to get your maps played by anyone, whether they were good or not. Everything about the multiplayer seemed to work against what the Far Cry community wanted, and it was frustrating. So that brings us to Far Cry 4 and its potential to either massively disappoint or finally deliver what the hardcore fans and the map making community have been longing for. Think of this as an open letter to the multiplayer developers of Far Cry 4, a gentle nudge which will hopefully push them in the right direction. First and foremost, Far Cry 4 needs a level editor. My cynical mind worries that it might be removed altogether this time around to make way for a more expansive campaign, but this must not happen. It doesn't need to be made any bigger or more flashy, but it does need to be there for the huge map making community. There has to be vehicles this time around. Far Cry games are all about the vehicles. Abolish the team-based restraints of 3, they didn't work. Let us create mountains that we can glide off and ramps to launch pickup trucks from. Placeable weapons are a must, and if that interferes with any kind of XP or class system that you've made, give us the option to do unranked matches with placeable weapons. Make an old school Far Cry Instincts Predator mode if you must, but allow our imaginations to run free. Don't stifle them. Sort out the lobby system so that sharing, finding and playing user-created maps is easy this time around. And give us the option to create custom playlists built around user-created content. And finally, with the next generation upon us, it's got to be feasible now to add AI animals into the game. It was teased in Far Cry 3, but you couldn't play any maps with AI online, so adding them to your builds was pretty pointless. I want to build a map where you have to jump a quad bike over a pit of tigers while people are shooting each other in the head. It's not much to ask, is it? So I've had my say, but what about the other Far Cry fans amongst us? Let us know what you want to see in Far Cry 4's multiplayer in the comments below, and as always, please do subscribe to the channel by clicking on that on-screen annotation. I'll be stepping up my hunt for Far Cry 4 info, and anything I find will hit this channel harder than Jason Brody after a nasty landing with his wingsuit. Or something.
Yeah, come on, buddy. Get up, get up! See? We can be friends, yeah? Oh! Yeah! Ha-ha!